Hey preps, welcome to art. For the first few weeks we will be looking at living and non-living things in our art making. So you might be thinking, what is a living thing and what is a non-living thing? So to start off with, things that are living are things that can grow, they can breathe, they can reproduce, and they can move. So they're called living things. Examples of those could be like myself, I can move, I can breathe. Might be like my cat or my dog, and it also might be things like plants and trees, because if we think about it, they start off really small and then they grow. They also produce seeds, which means that they can reproduce and others can grow. The opposite of that are non-living things. So they are things that cannot grow and they do not move by themselves and they do not breathe and they can't reproduce. So they have no life in them whatsoever. And an example of that might be things like rocks, a bucket, water, a glue stick, so many different types of things. They're non-living, okay? So for today's art lesson, we're looking at living things. Next week, we'll be looking at non-living things. I'm gonna get started and show you what we need to do. So perhaps to get started in our art lesson for the first week, we are collecting things that are from a living thing. For example, on my page here, I've collected a whole lot of leaves. And what do they come from? They come from a tree. And is a tree a living thing or is it a non-living thing? It's a living thing. It grows, it breathes, it reproduces. So I went for a little walk and I have found a whole lot of different shapes and size leaves, a few different colors as well. And we are going to be arranging them and creating little creatures with them. So we're using living things to make imaginary living creatures. Okay, so you're going to arrange them. You could also get some flowers, anything living. We're not going to be using things like rocks, because when we think about it, a rock isn't a living thing. So preps, I have started placing my leaves onto my page. Now, if you've got some nice flat leaves like me, I used a glue stick and I glued some of them down so they don't move off my page. You should have got a little page in your take-home pack and you can use that as a base, or you can use any sort of white paper, that's okay as well. I'm also really lucky that over here I found some stickers that I have that are white, so I'm going to put them as eyes. Now if you don't have those, you've got textures, you might even have some paint, you can do anything you like. But I'm going to start making these little leaves become creatures and make them become alive. So I'm going to go ahead, start adding details. So I'm going to add eyes, feet, and I'm going to come back and show you what I've done. So perhaps I have finished decorating my living things artwork. You can see I have only used living things for this project. I've collected a whole lot of leaves from a little walk that I went on, and here I have made kind of like a little bit of an echidna, a little bit of a mouse, and they are sitting on top of each other. So I have used a little sticky dot as the eye, but you can also just color them in whatever you like. I've added details. I've used this little stem here as a little bit of a tail. So think if you can see something in your living things and join it into your picture. Here I've got a little bit of a caterpillar, or I've added some wings here. This one I thought was a nice color, almost like a cat. This one, a bit of a surprised face, and this big one thought that we can do together. So let's put one of those big eyes there. Let's get another one. And let's not forget a little bit of a mouth. Alright, so that's my really big one that I found. And down here as well, you could also try and cut out some leaves. So here I've drawn a little base. Looks like a bit of a caterpillar, but once I join my wings that are a little bit of a leaf that I've cut up, creates a butterfly, or maybe a moth as well. So think about cutting up leaves, making them into a bigger picture. Maybe you want to, if you're lucky enough to have some flowers in your backyard, or maybe on a walk, you could pick some, you could add them to your pictures. Make sure that we're adding only living things though. We're not adding non-living things today. Okay prep, so now it's your turn to start your living things artwork. Remember that we're not using non-living things. So we're not using things like rocks. We're using things that are living, so flowers, leaves, twigs. Go for a walk and see what you can find. I can't wait to see your results. Make sure you take a little photo of what you make. See you next week. Bye.